Yes, we are back. I apologize, everybody, due to some technical reason. We were kicked out from the live session of Facebook. As I mentioned in the start, that today our session will be discussing primarily about our this new changes we have seen in CMSC news. We are seeing that CMSC has made some changes. We are going to discuss about those changes, and I have used our friend and CIBC mortgage advisor, Mr. Zafar Ahmed, is also online with us. Used our friend and CIBC mortgage advisor, Mr. Zafar Ahmed, is also online with us.
I think we're still.
Check if your, phone or something is also live or giving the volume.
I think we're good. Welcome back again, everyone. And once again, like you said, sorry for network issues. So eventually we'll get it right. So let's start.
Yes.
Can you post sharing screen, please? I can't share a screen right now still. Oh, here we go. Alrighty. So changes announced by CHMSC this week. We're going to start with effective July 1st. So it'll start from July 1st. CMHC will no longer treat non-traditional source of down payment funding such as personal and unsecured line of credit as equity for insurance purposes. A lot of people didn't know about this. That in past you could use personal unsecured line of credit as equity for your as a down payment, or you can take money from your line of credit, use it as a down payment. And now CMHC is no longer treating this as a down payment funding. So for the first time home buyer, the changes would be for the first time home buyer with less than 20% down payment, at least one. So this is a really tricky part. So a lot of people thought your score had to be 680, but at least one person. So if you're a couple looking to purchase a home, at least one of you need to have a score, a minimum of 680. Before it was minimum 600. So that gone up a little bit. Once again, so let's, for first time home buyer with less than 20% down payment, at least one of the applicant credit score will need to be minimum of 680, up from previous minimum amount of 600. Any question on that? So under the new CMHC rules, which will take effect July 1st, banks will be bound to the standard 35 to 42 GDS, gross debt service ratio, and TDS total, which is total debt service ratio. Used to be 39 and 44. So mortgage loan applicant until now, they were allowed to use 39 and 44 ratio. Is no longer. I think I can. For some reason, your screen's still locked.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing my slide, but the slides are not coming through. So can you hear me though?
Yes.
Okay. So we were talking about under the new CMHC rules, which takes effect July 1st. I'm keep on saying July 1st because a lot of people thinking it started immediately. No, we still have good 28 plus days. So the balance was before 39 and 44 GDS and TDS ratio. Now it's bring it down to 35 and 44. So this doesn't mean that a lot of people call me or text me asking, does that mean 5% or 10% it will no longer be accepted? At this time, CHMC has not said anything on removing 5% down payment or even 10% down payment. So unless they say something to us or something comes in, like earlier this week they announced with GDS, some changes coming in, they'll let us know ahead of time before making such a big change. So the other good news is, since we have three insurance companies, insurers that deal with less than 20% down payment, at this time, neither Genworth nor Canada Guarantee have announced they will be making the same changes. So there are other options. We're still, at this time, Genworth or Canada Guarantee have not announced they will be following CMHC rules that that's coming in effect. So if you have any question, let us know. At this time, I think, Mansoor?
Yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, always remember these changes does not mean, and it never said in this whole presentation of CMHC that they are stopping 5% and 10% mortgages. My comment about this, especially 5%, 10% mortgages, is just a common sense. If there is no 5%, 10%, 15% mortgages allowed, then there's no need of CMHC companies, and all these insurance companies would not be in their business. So the good sign is they are in business. That means these mortgages are still going on and banks are accepting these mortgages. The only changes they are doing is changes are about their GDS TDS ratio. As we mentioned earlier, they are raising their bar and they are making a little bit more tighter. So if they drop from 39 to 33%, means that when 33% or 39% ratio was allowed, means you have more room, to keep the debts on you and then get qualified as well. But now when they're dropping that bar from 39 to 33, means the qualification bracket will be more tighter, and means that your debt ratio will be more tighter, and you need to make sure that you have less debts as compared to previously. That's the change. The other change is, previously they were allowing to go a credit rating for any particular mortgage can go up to 600. Now let me make it clear, 600 does not mean that everybody on the planet can have a 600 score and they will be getting qualified and they get the mortgage. No, that means that in circumstances, there are different ways the file gets structured, the mortgage application get structured. On those applications, there were some situation, then in such situation they were allowing that that's okay if you have a 600 score. But now they are saying no. If there is one applicant, must be 680 score. If there are two applicants, one of them should be 680 and the other can be down up to 600. So imagine 600 score, in my personal opinion, shows that there are some other issues. We are not talking about only scores. I always talk to my clients. I always talk to people. I discuss these, question answer session. Score has an importance, but the key important game is what is on your credit. I hear this all the time from people. Wow, my score is good. Don't worry about it. Mansoor, I am great. My score is 800 plus. And my next answer to them is, I love to see what is actually inside your credit report. We don't see lenders on your credit scoring. We see people have only $1,000 credit card. Some people have only a $500 credit card, and that credit card is also a secured credit card. Yes, your score will show 820s, 830s, or 8 plus. That is a good thing, but for the lender point of view, it's not good, because your score shows, a credit report shows, that is a very thin credit. Now, when we call thin credit means there are not a lot of lenders showing trust on you. If you are not able to get a credit card of $500 or $1,000 unsecured means bank has not taken any guarantee or any deposit against that credit card. That is called unsecured. If you have a credit card where you have to give bank a $500 or $1,000 security deposit, that is called a secure credit card. I'm not saying those are bad. They are beginners. They are initially you might need those kind of credit card to start up your credit history in Canada. But later on, if your credit history is not even showing any major banks, any major creditor or lender showing trust, how can you go and apply for a mortgage of $600,000 or $700,000? It's very simple myth, very simple common sense to understand. You need to make sure you show your paying back habits. What is credit rating? Credit rating is your paying back habit. If you are not committed to pay back a loan of $1,000, if you miss payments on lower level of credit card, if you miss payments on your cell phone bills, if you miss payments on your lease or on your financing of a car, which was $30,000 or $40,000 value, bank is going to come back and say, Mr. A, B, or C, how can I get trust that you will be paying back my money, which I'll be lending you in the amount of 500,000 or even more? So this is how the credit rating works. So once again, CMHC or any of these insurance company, I did not see anywhere which says that 5%, 10% are being stopped at all. My personal opinion is not going to be stopped in even coming days, because if there's no unconventional mortgages approval, that means we don't need these big insurance companies. The reason we have this Canada CMHC, Genworth, and the third company, Canada Guarantee, then the reason was that we are allowed to go for loan application less than 20%. Yes, Government of Canada basic rule is all mortgages should be 20%, but then they give a little bit more flexibility to the banks and lenders to keep the market going. Because of the new immigration and a lot of activities in the real estate market, they allow us to go less than 20 with insurance. So now these insurance companies are not actually the controller of the lenders, but yes, they do give insurance to the lenders and lenders get their loan protected. But once again, to give this confidence to all the viewers, nothing has big significant change in the mortgage industry except there is a tighter rule. That's all. And on top of that, as Zafar mentioned, the other two companies have not still announced that whether they are going to be on board for this or they are keeping their own way. Most probably they are going to be on the same board because they work together, and most probably their policy procedures are more or less same with slight differences. So now I will go back to Zafar, and if Zafar has any questions, we will start discussing those questions. Did you have any questions, Zafar?
No, I think you're right. Like a lot of people did panic soon as the news came out was 5 or 10%. And like you mentioned earlier, that if those are not there, how are these big companies will survive? Their jobs, everything else is monitored by it.
You don't need these companies then.
Yes, and you know, first-time home buyer. There's a lot of millennials out there looking to purchase their first home. Again, there are other two companies. They have not said a word. Yes, even though CMHC is the biggest insurer out there, but the other twos are there as well. Again, the ratio when it dropped to GDS and TDS, a lot of people didn't even know about what does it stand for. And as our first-time home buyer program, the segment we've been doing for the last few weeks, we talked about it, and we'll move forward and we'll explain it again next week in our Sunday afternoon episode.
For the TDS and GDS, I think we still have a little bit of time because I didn't see any detailed question coming up. So what I can do, I can go and pull up presentation I have, which I can bring that page if I can. That would be great, so that we know what TDS and GDS is. That will help us a lot. Because in this presentation, I do have set up about TDS and GDS ratios as well.
Should be popping up soon.
So right now, I'm not sure whether I'm confident people would be able to see this. It says, are you a qualified buyer? This is very important to know and understand the qualification process. Let me explain you what TDS is. There are banks who are using TDS formula. There are banks who are using GDS formula. So I will be explaining you both of them to understand the difference between TDS and GDS. Some banks, as I mentioned, use TDS, which is called total debt service. These banks, basically what they do, they take all of your debts together and then combine and then calculate your application and your, I would say, those debts. Some of them are using GDS. In GDS, what they do, they use only the gross values, gross debt service. So for example, if it says mortgage lender, which use GDS, let's say they're using 30%. We are talking about 33. So the calculation I have is 30% for easiness and simplification. Let's say if they're using 30%, that is gross income. Assume you are making $100,000 a year. Now 30% of that $100,000 for your income will be $30,000. Now they will be taking out taxes from this total amount. So out of $30,000, taxes will be removed. The left balance is $24,000. That means you are okay. You have the ability to use this $24,000 towards the mortgage payment. Now they divide this $24,000 by 12. That means $2,000 monthly mortgage payments you can qualify. Now, whatever house or property you are trying to buy, they are going to take what mortgage payment will be for their interest rates, considering their, what are the down payment is. So they will find out what actually loan amount is, what is your interest rate, and what will be your mortgage payment on that particular loan. If that amount is over $2,000, your application is declined. If that payment is lower than $2,000, you are approved. This is called GDS ratio. Now, if we go to the TDS, what the difference in TDS and GDS is, in TDS, they are going to count all of your debt, for example, your credit card payments, your car payments, other loan payments, and then they will add all of them together. This is why you see the TDS numbers are apparently higher than the GDS number. So let's say the bank is using TDS as 40%. In this case, if you are making $1,000, $100,000, 40% of your $100,000 is $40,000. The reason I'm using these numbers is easy to calculate mentally. That means if the property tax of that property is $6,000, they are going to take this property tax out, because government always come first and they have the right to take their money first. Remaining other debts, for example, your credit card payments and your other loan payments are approximately, say, $10,000. So now again, if your total balance comes to $24,000, again, you are okay to spend $2,000 a month on your mortgage. Now, once again, it depends how much loan you are taking on, how much interest rate, and what would be a monthly payment of that particular loan. If that monthly payment of principal and interest, which we call mortgage, is under $2,000, your application is approved. If that payment is over $2,000, your application is not approved. This is how the banks calculate TDS and GDS ratio. I hope this will explain an easy way to all of my viewers what this TDS and GDS is, because you might have heard this word so many times, but have no clue what these ratios are. So I try my best to explain this way, and I hope that this was shown on the screen as well. Now I will be coming back. Zafar, were you able to see this presentation on screen or no?
No, I think we had the same issue with mine as well, and that's why we were a couple. But like live and learn. I think we've come a long way from our first episode to this, and I know our viewers will forgive us. And moving forward, we are improving as we go by, and it's live and learn. And there's new technology for all of us, and this is, like I said, we live and learn, and we'll move on. And hopefully next week we'll make it a little bit improvement on that part of it.
Good.
But great. You know what? It was overall a great presentation. Thank you. You took the time to just explain it through. But next week, I think we will go back again and GDS, CDS with our presentation. That way, when people see it, some people are visual learners, and we'll bring it up on the screen, and people can understand that part a little bit more clear.
But if people were not able to see, again, you might have heard all my presentation and all what I was explaining. TDS, GDS, banks use all the time. This is nothing new. TDS includes your other debts, your credit card payments and your car payment. GDS ratio, they don't use these ones. Simple formula, as I explained, if your income is $100,000 and the bank is using, say, currently Zafar, we are saying 33% is now GDS.
Yeah, 33.
So let's say 33% is the bank GDS. How they will calculate your mortgage? They will say, if you're making $100,000, 33% of $100,000 is what? $33,000.
Sorry, 35 and 42 now.
So, okay, $35,000. So $35,000 means about $3,000 or a little bit lower than $3,000 is your monthly payment. From this $35,000, they are going to take off your property tax first. Is going to, remember, many of my clients who are watching, I always ask them, I need your mortgage statement. I need your property tax information. Why we need that information? Because of the application. So what bank do, bank sees on this property, your MLS listing or your agreement, what is your annual property tax? So from that GDS number of $35,000, they will take, subtract the property tax. Save property tax is $5,000. Remaining amount left is $30,000. So that $30,000 will be divided into 12. Obviously, it's around, say, what is the number, $2,500?
Yeah.
Approximately. So that $2,500 is your limit of approval. Now they are going to keep this $2,500 number in front, and then they are going to find out how much down payment you are putting, how much is your loan amount. You have seen many times that at the last minute, the mortgage applicants or bank or mortgage broker say, wow, we need a little bit more down payment, or we need to bring more down payment. And why? This is why they asked you, we need some more payment, because your ratios are not matching. Say your ability is $2,500, but you're picking up more loan and your monthly payment on the loan comes to, say, $2,700. So bring this to $200 low, they need to improve your down payment. This is how they ask you, we need more down payment. We need to add up more to bring your ratio down, or we need to get the price down. Otherwise, there's no other way. So I hope I was able to explain the GDS ratio.
That's the same point. A lot of time we let our client know that, once after your down payment, you should have at least 1.5% sitting aside as your closing costs. So there's no surprises at the end. A lot of people say, oh, you know what, 20% down. And when we ask, okay, these are the next fees that you have to come up with, and they don't have funds for it. So just remember, whatever down payment you're putting down, approximately 1.5% you should have in your account just for as a backup. Like you said, there's surprises, especially for the first-time home buyers. There's a lot of surprises that come in. You give us a call and we'll walk you through step by step. What do you need to do? And, Mansoor, you've been in this industry over 10 years, and your experience and
15 year plus.
15 plus years, your experience and the whole team that you have working with you can walk people through. And a lot of time people, I know that we have discussed a lot of time, people calling in and at the last minute scrambling for, oh, my agent did not tell me or didn't do anything. So, that's what we're here for. This is what we're doing. We're here to help you guys. And, like Mansoor's been, as you can see back of his wall, those things, you don't just get it, you earn it, and the experience shows. Those trophies in the back, the plaques are there. We're here to help. Experience, guys. You're making the biggest purchase of your life. You can't just go in and sign up and come back, or when you have this holy moment, and then you give us a call and say, what am I supposed to do now? So before you do that, just think about what's right for you and your family. Call around, call the experts. Yes, your friends are there to guide you through, tell you, okay, you know what, this guy does it, but there are people out there who's willing to help you, but you have to ask for that.
This is why I normally, the people who have talked to me about their mortgage needs, or my clients who have used my services in the past, they might know already. I always tell them that when you talk to me about 5%, 10%, or 20%, I always tell you is it's not only 5, 10, or 20. Whatever percentage you have, add 2%. The reason I ask them to be prepared with 2% extra, again, this because of the closing cost. I can give you example with the new builders clothing cost. A lot of people don't even know. New builders have a lot of additional clothing costs which you don't even know about them. Recently, another client of mine have about $8,000 in additional clothing costs by builder, and they were shocked and say, "Wow, why the builder is asking this much, or the lawyer is asking me to bring $8,000 more than Mansoor your calculation?" And I told them, remember my conversation, wait for the day of closing or few days prior to closing, how much builder will send invoice to your lawyer. And the reason the builder invoice changes, builder has a lot of expenses as per your agreement. It says you are going to pay for the tree in front of your house. You are going to pay for the meter for your water supply, meter for your gas supply, gas connection fees. There's so much city other connection fees are involved. So once you add up, and if you read your agreement, many agreement clearly shows you that that cost is going to be anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000. Especially if it's a condominium, these costs can go to $15,000 to $20,000 additional. So don't be surprised when closing time comes and you come back and say, "Wow, I am putting 20% down. I have 20% down ready. Now my lawyer asking me on top of 20%, get $25,000 or $30,000 more." No surprise. Lawyer is not asking something unusual. Lawyer has an invoice came from the builders, came from the seller side. Many times sellers have taxes paid in advance for the whole year, and you are supposed to pay them back for the months you are going to acquire that property. So there's so many changes at the last minute, back and forth, and cost involved. This is why your closing cost should be, and even banks, as you mentioned, bank always see that on other than your closing cost, other than your down payment, whether this client has minimum 1.5 or 2% available as a closing cost or not. If not, then again, they will be declining your application. So the individuals who have some time, these kind of concern that why bank do these things, I give them a simple example. If I come to your door and ask you, can you lend me a $5,000 or $10,000? Your first concern will be how Mansoor will pay back, what job he has, what income he has. Exactly same way, banks always look for what job, what income you have, and these criteria, these formulas are made to help the banks, to help the lending system to lend the loan, which is not a smaller loan, which is one of the biggest loan of your life. So once again, thank you very much for watching us, and apologize if we have missed or we have some technology difficulties. As we mentioned, we are working every week to improve our presentations, and hope you enjoyed. Feel free to call, and in the meantime, I see Mubarak Ali Asghar Saab are watching, Usman Ayaz Saab, Wasim Ahmed Saab, Ritu Siani, One Villa just joined, Shabaz Khan Saib, Mansoor Amir Sultan Saib, Maria Adams, Zakri Sahib, Tanveer Sheikh Saab, Safwan Noon, Zafullah Khan Babar Sahib, Naveed Mirza Sahib, Umar Maqsood Sahib, Tanya Mirza, Rizwan Khan, Wahab Sai Sahib, Nadia Maqbool Sahiba, Hassan, the many other friends. Apologize for Qureshi, Vikas Sharma, Arslan Beg Sahib. Thank you very much for watching. If I missed somebody's name, Shahid Supra Sahib, the reason I'm acknowledging is to appreciate your support, and I appreciate you guys are taking time out of your busy days, especially on Sundays, to watch our live series. Feel free to please join every Sunday, 12 o'clock. We are here. I'm here. My friend Zafar is here, and we try to bring some other special guests, local politicians, lawyers, other mortgage industry friends, and anyone who is involved in this industry to help understand and get educate our viewers. Thanks again, once again. Khuda Hafiz, and have a wonderful Sunday.
Thanks. Have a good day, guys. Thanks.